The big win for Liverpool, 1-0 against Brentford. They closed the gap in the top four race to 1 point behind Manchester United. And as I stated just 3 or 4 games ago for Liverpool, their top four hopes were alive. They are alive. They are kicking right now. With Man United's form being sketchy at best, there may be 2 games in hand, but as we always state on the football terrace, points on the board are worth more. That's 6 wins on the bounce now for Jurgen Klopp's men since he made those tactical changes that his fans have been asking for all year. As soon as he moved Trent out of predominantly sitting in that right back position, as soon as he had more play in the midfield, this Liverpool team has gone to another level. Now, they're still shaky. There are still holes. There are still problems to be resolved in the transfer window by Jurgen Klopp. But this Liverpool team is hunting down a top 4 position. And with 4 games to go for them now? I think they're on 34, 35. They've got 3 games remaining, 9 points more available. Who's really going to bet against them getting all 9 points now? They are probably going to end this season somewhere around that 70-point mark. Man United need to win at least 3, maybe 4. At least maybe 3, maybe 4 of their next 5 games that they've got remaining in this, because Liverpool are hunting them down. And even Newcastle can't relax just yet. I know they've got games in hand as well, but they have to win them, because Liverpool did this a couple of seasons ago with winning 10 or so games straight on the bounce and grabbing a top 4 position out of nowhere. They have one of the best managers in the world. They have some of the best players in the world, and they're starting to click, and they're starting to get better. And I know a lot of Liverpool fans want to play this down. I know a lot of Liverpool fans, some don't want to kind of talk about it in case it doesn't happen. But with the quality of their team, with their manager, the 6 wins on the bounce, there is no way that this cannot be a talking point now. They're hunting Manchester United down. They're hunting Newcastle United down. And of course, they want that Champions League spot next year. It's going to be hugely important for them in terms of the window. We know what FSG do in terms of their economic standpoint, the lack of investment at times. No Champions League football may hinder the rebuild slightly, because we know what they're like, just like the Glazers at times at Manchester United. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. In terms of the game, look, I thought Liverpool were really good in the opening 15, 20 minutes. I felt like once they scored, a little bit like against Tottenham, against the Nottingham Forest, it's slightly the same against Fulham in the week as well. They become a little bit complacent. They become a little bit lax. They're not Liverpool at the moment can't do what they were doing last season or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, where they're taking leads and then they control the game and your opponents look like they're out of the match. Brentford always looked in it tonight. And that's probably the one reason why some may say that they can't win their next 3 and do 9 wins on the bounce, not with being that susceptible and gettable within games. You've got to remember, though, this collective group has a winner's mentality. This collective group has won multiple trophies under Klopp. They've seen out title races, or at the very least, in 2 of their title races with City, they went to the wire and they didn't really crumble per se. So they know how to get through these moments. They know how to win in the run-in. And it's one of the reasons why, and I was so impressed with Mo Salah again today. Yes, he's only got 1 goal. But the reason I was really impressed with Mo Salah was simply and utterly because he knows what to do in these big games. He knows what to do in the run-in. Now, the run-in right now isn't for the Premier League title, but it's the clinched top 4. And it's why goals at this time of the season, in my opinion, are worth more than 10 goals. If you score 5, 6, 7 goals in the last 10 games in a run-in when your team is playing for something, they're more valuable than the same amount of goals in the opening 10 games, because they get you over the line. They're being scored during high-pressured moments. And that's why Mo Salah is one of the best players that Liverpool have ever had. In my opinion, he's their greatest ever Premier League player, and he's delivering again for them in a team that just isn't that well gelled. And he's kind of been criticised, Mo Salah, this year about, not having a great season, not performing particularly well. And for me, I very much look at it as the Liverpool haven't performed well. He's been very good. Of course, he's had bad games, because this is a team sport. And if your midfield and your defense is a calamity, it makes it hard. There's no foundation to build for the front men. But overall, he's had a fantastic season, all things being considered. And just wait to what he could do next year. Wait to what he could do next year if this team starts cooking with a good summer transfer window. It could be scary times again for a lot of rivals because I think there was this hope that Liverpool fell off this year, and that's it. And we do this every time a team drops off a little bit. That's it. They're gone. They won't come back. This Liverpool team has got life in them yet because Jurgen Klopp has done again what he did back in sort of 2017. He's listened and he's made the adjustments. And a lot of people felt like the players weren't playing for him. They were bored of the tactics. They didn't like the high line, Trent at right back, the midfield having no real creativity or play through it. And there was like a boredom. But he's made some subtle changes. And they always say that change is as good as a rest. So these players look refreshed because there's been that change. And Trent's new role, the inverted fullback, we're not going to give it a new name. It's what it is. Multiple other teams have done it. Klopp has now followed suit. And Liverpool just look a different animal at times. There is still holes. Not denying that. That's personnel. That's just bringing better quality players in. Curtis Jones has played well in the last few games, but then he's better than him. You look at the front line, there needs to be big improvements in Gakpo and Darwin Nunez next year, especially when it comes to their hold-up and build-up play. I think new additions are needed in the defense as well. It's just looking a bit rusty and a little bit old. But if Liverpool spend well in the summer, using Trent in this new role with the power up front of Mohamed Salah that we saw today, there's still a brilliant, brilliant team in here that can challenge for all honours. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. And as I say, a few people are saying, why am I having to go at Trent? I'm not. I'm praising Trent in his new role. You're getting the very best out of him. We saw it again today. It was one loose ball in the second half, but I'm not going to nitpick because I don't agree with nitpicking when it comes to a player's performance. You know, most players will make a mistake like that in a game. It's fairly regular. But he's just got great control. He drifts from left to right. He's a wonderful playmaker. People told me he didn't have the subtlety to be a midfielder. I've never really agreed with that. He doesn't have the defensive awareness to be a defender. It's just defensive awareness. But if you're the playmaker in midfield, your job isn't even to be that defensively minded in that role the majority of the time. So, yeah, very, very impressed with him again today. There's no doubt about it. And they had a great shot towards the end and whatever else. And it's no surprise to me that now there's a playmaker that predominantly is on that right-hand side that you're now getting the best out of Mo Salah again. When he was being used earlier on in the season as a playmaker, which is not his main attribute, you're not going to get the most out of him. If you just use Haaland all year as a target man to flick balls on and to create for others, he'd get some assists and he's very good at doing that. But he would never get 51 plus goals across all competitions. That's what he's best at doing. Same with Mo Salah. Get the best out of him that you can. Get the best out of him that you can. We are on your next, Terry. Yeah, you are. And look, Liverpool are a better team than Man United. Liverpool fans have told me that all year. We're only where we are because you've dropped off. You're not dropping off anymore. Come for us. You know, we've got 2 games in hand, and that one of them is at home against Chelsea, which I'm not going to call easy, but you should be beating them. We're away to West Ham tomorrow. Very hard game away from home. But if United pick up 3 points tomorrow, then beat Wolves at home, most people would say it's pretty much done at that point with you guys only having 3 games remaining. But we've got to win those games. Any slip up tomorrow against West Ham and the door flies wide open for Liverpool to come in. And the good thing about this, not from my point of view, is the fact that I don't really want this as a United fan, but at least there's some excitement towards the end of the season. Someone here says, I remember Terry comparing AWB to Trent in the inverted role. So I didn't compare the two of them, so you get confused because GR, maybe, I don't know why you get confused. Maybe there's something, I don't know. You know, maybe you were drunk, maybe you're drinking. But I've said they're both improved since being moved into that role. Defensively, Trent can't talk to AWB. Offensively, as a playmaker, AWB can't even lace Trent's boots. But they're both used inverted, but they've got different roles within that position they play in. Same position doesn't mean same role. You know, there are some strikers that weren't the out-and-out goal scorers in teams. You had it. Firmino played the number 9 role, but he was more of a facilitator than the main goal scorer at Liverpool. That doesn't mean he isn't a number. It doesn't mean he wasn't a central striker like Haaland or a Harry Kane. AWB is being used invertedly. He's done a much better job there than when we were trying to use him last season as a marauding fullback trying to create. So their position is the same right now, but their role within that position is fundamentally different. And there's been no comparison by me of that. One is the superior defender. The other is the superior playmaker. And do you know what both managers are doing, which is smart, is they're both using those players to the best of their abilities. in roles that suit their abilities now, rather than trying to make Trent a defender, which was catastrophic, or trying to make AWB a playmaker, which is embarrassing. It's as simple as that, my friend. So I hope that clears up what I said. I fear for Man United when Spurs refuse to sell Kane. Well, United will just go for another striker. That isn't really a worry or concern in any way there, my friend. But thank you. Terry, I wish you well after your post today. But Banter, we're coming for you, Mr. Look After You. Yeah, listen, I've said for a while Liverpool are coming for Man United, and Liverpool fans should be far more upbeat. They should be far more I wouldn't say confident, but upbeat about the possibility of this happening. And I'm kind of confused that more Liverpool fans haven't been talking about this in recent weeks. Thank God for Mo and Allison. Without them, we'd equal Chelsea. Yeah, who knew how important GA is? One, scoring it, and two, stopping it from going in the back of your net. Imagine football fans for 5 years have tried to argue that GA don't move them. GA moves you up and down the league, and that's what all we care about, really. The pressure is getting Wazza. I can smell it, is what D says here. Liverpool to pip United to 4th on goal difference. You know what would be mad about the goal difference? You add 7 goals to Man United, and we'd be on plus 16. Take 7 off of Liverpool, it'd be on plus 18. That 7-0, imagine that 7-0 becomes a difference. Then it becomes a more significant result than the 3 points. So, but look, United, I don't think they'll be worried about that right now. Beat West Ham tomorrow, beat Wolves at home in the next game, and then it's practically done. There'll be a 7-point gap with Liverpool with 3 games remaining, and there's just no way Man United are losing their last 3 games of the season, in my opinion. But we will see. Referee taking revenge on Klopp with an awful game. Again, I didn't really, maybe there's something I missed, but I didn't really think it was an awful game from the referee. To be fair, I think he got most decisions pretty much correct. Maybe some of the yellow cards were a little bit harsh, but I didn't think there was anything untoward going on. Mo Salah, 100 Anfield goals equals Gerrard's all comp record. Yeah, in what, 4 or 5 years? Like Gerrard was there 15 or whatever. I know Gerrard's a midfielder, so he isn't going to score as much. Mo Salah, like I keep saying to Liverpool fans, your greatest ever Premier League football player. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. He's your best. He's your best. Won the most, delivered the most, scored the most. GA levels, which is very important, on par with Thierry Henry, who's considered the Premier League GOAT by the vast majority of people. Mo Salah's out of this world. Mo Salah is world class, and you can't say that about other Premier League players at the moment in time. 6 years consistently. Yeah, Mo Salah is just absolutely phenomenal. There is no doubt about it. And I've been someone that's really defended and protected Mo Salah more than I should have done as a Man United fan for years. Even when I've seen like Liverpool fans very much like, sorry, one of my MMA podcasts just came on. Even though I've seen like a lot of Liverpool fans, I've seen Liverpool fans really not give Mo Salah the credit he deserves in the past. I understand that. Listen, I understand Liverpool fans are always going to put Gerrard above him as the Premier League legend, and maybe even Liverpool's. I don't even think Gerrard's Liverpool's greatest ever player, really. I think it's one of the guys from the 70s or the 80s, based on the logic I used to define greatness. However, I can't tell a Liverpool fan who their best player is. It's a very emotive subject. But for me, Mo Salah is their greatest ever Premier League player, based on consistency, goals, assists, ability, trophies, all the things I judge players on. So people are turning around, you're just trying to shit on Gerrard. No, I'd use the same logic at my club. No matter how good these current players are now, none of them will touch my previous legends until they start winning a certain amount of trophies, consistency. He's just out of this world, Mo Salah. And yes, he is world class. And I think that the tail off towards the end of last season and Liverpool not clinching the Champions League or Premier League is the reason why he didn't win the Ballon d'Or last year. We'd have carried that form on a bit more into the season, and Liverpool went on to win the Prem or Champions League along with the the 2 domestic trophies. Mo Salah would have been a shoo-in for that, in my opinion. He was that good last year. And look, it's been a little bit of a slow start to the season as Klopp was trying new things and new tactics. But as I've said, this guy's come good again. Evening, Terry, and everyone. Do you think Mason Mount is the right player for Liverpool's system? I think he is working midfield. I've never really been fully convinced by Mason Mount. Do I think he's better than Curtis Jones? Potentially. But the question is this: forget our own opinions for a minute. If Jurgen Klopp wants him, there's got to be a player in there. That's the one thing I say to Chelsea fans that are happy for him to leave. Arteta, Klopp, and reportedly Ten Hag are all like, oh, well, just look at him then. This guy's good. So there's something in that. It doesn't mean it'll work. It's like a lot of United fans. Rashford's trash. But PSG and Barca want to buy him. He's that trash that two of the biggest clubs in the world with some amazing world-class players want to buy him. PSG aren't that big, but they attract players. They're not big compared to Barca, but you get what I mean. You understand my point. They want him. If like Mason Mount was going to leave, but it was only Brentford and Brighton and Spurs that wanted him, maybe he ain't as good as everyone thinks. But there's something in it that's just, again, my personal preference is nah. But just in the back of my mind, there's just a little bit of something, like when you leave the house and you think you might have left the iron on or the oven on. That's how I feel about Mason Mount right now. There's something in the back of my mind that just ain't right. Terry, I've had a bad feeling about this. Man United need to win tomorrow. Of course we do. We had to win regardless of this result tonight. It's still in Man United's hands, but there is pressure upon us now. Liverpool have created some excitement towards the end of the season. Man United need to respond. Man United need to go and beat West Ham. Beat West Ham, beat Wolves. Today is inconsequential. There's a 7-point gap. That's it. Point blank. Period. But lose against West Ham and draw at home against Wolves, Liverpool are sweeping in. Liverpool are coming in and they're taking that Champions League spot. And it would be an embarrassing end to an overall successful season for Manchester United. And it would leave a bitter taste in my mouth, big frustration towards some of these players and the manager, and more pressure for success next year. Failure now creates more pressure next season. So there's multiple reasons why I don't want it to happen, but it's there. Some United fans will say, no, we'll be absolutely fine. And we may be, but there is pressure. We can't deny that. Hypothetically, which one is better for Liverpool? One, Jude, or McAllister and Mount? That's a real tough question. Like, they need more than one midfielder, so you would angle towards McAllister and Mount. But FSG have enough money to buy you all three if they were willing to invest it. So I'm not answering the question how you put it. I'm going to answer it in the way in which Liverpool fans should be pushing. Give us more money. You're worth billions of pounds. We've got a bigger stadium now, which generates more income. We've got the new Nike deal, which was generating loads of money on merchandise like we've never seen before. TV money's going up in the game. And you're worth billions and you can pump 100 million. They can pump 100 million pounds of their own money in this summer if they wanted to. So get all three is what you should be looking at. Obviously, Jude's gone, but that's what you should be doing. Terry, next week is the first time this year that United only play one game in a week. Canelo or Ryder? I'm gonna say Canelo. I can't see Ryder doing it. If he does, it will be one of the greatest away performances from a British boxer in the history of boxing, because Canelo is that good. But yeah, I can't personally see him doing it. And yeah, look, United. Listen, I'm making no excuses for Man United. We are fatigued. We are tired. But we should still get over the line. We should still finish this off. We have played a lot of football this year. But then with the reason why I'm not going to use it as an outright excuse and go, yeah, well, if we hadn't, we'd be there. I don't do those weak man excuses. The players have got to learn. This is what I want next season. I want us in the final of the FA Cup and winning the Carabao Cup, but going late into the Champions League and challenging for this is every year we should be playing this amount of games. So the players have got to get used to this and how to cope with it mentally. So it's a bad thing because it's fatiguing us, but it's a good thing in the long term. This going out early and we'll get better each year, it's nonsense. You need to go for hell for leather straight away. You really, really do. You really, really do. Terry Lee Gunner says Welbeck is better than Salah. Listen, I've got a lot of time for Lee Gunner. We have a lot of shows. I am cooking him on Tuesday, by the way, over something he said the other day. I've done some research on it. I'm going to ruin, man. But the idea that Danny Welbeck is a better football player than Mo Salah. I don't think Danny Welbeck's technically better than him anyway, but some people are addicted to someone can do better skills. I was looking at Madueke today. Madueke is probably a better dribbler than Mo Salah. It doesn't make him a better football player. Football isn't judged in that way. These guys are acting like that kid in the playground that dribbled past everybody was the best footballer. But how many of those kids in your playground that did that went on to become pros? In fact, how many of those kids were even the best team in your school football team? Playing a game of football is different from having great skills. Some footballers can play the game of football and have those skills. Ronaldinho, they're rare. Mo Salah is so superior to Danny Welbeck, is unbelievable. It's like comparing a Ford Mondeo against a Lamborghini. It's like comparing a Suzuki Jeep with a Range Rover. They're incomparable in terms of quality. And by the way, that's coming from a Man United fan. No bias here. It's a crazy take from Lee Gunner. Right. I'm bringing out Husam and Zain and Samuel to come on and have their say with us now. Hit the like and the share button, people. Let's do this. Welcome back to the show, people. Husam, you're closing in on United. You're hunting us down, bro. 1 point in it. Do you fancy yourself to do this?
No. No. I'm not gonna fall into the trap. I'm not gonna fall into the trap. I think it's just a little bit too little, too late. I think we still need Man United to lose 2 games, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in order to overtake them because of the games, and actually to lose 2 games and draw 1 game or something like that. So like we need them to mess up basically 60%, 70% of the remaining fixtures. That's the thing. So I think we left it a little bit too little, too late. But you never know in football. The one thing that I didn't want for us to happen is that Man United mess up and we're not there. That would have been even more disappointing. Like if Man United did mess up and they did drop those points and we just kind of like we ourselves failed at winning our games, that would have been, devastating. So as long as we win our games, that's what I'm happy about. For me personally, Mo Salah is the second best Premier League player for Liverpool Football Club. Our greatest players all come in the 70s and the 80s. Stevie G is of course up there always. 1 and 2, him and Dalglish. Now, when it comes to this performance today, big up to the 2 centre backs. I thought Konate and Van Dijk both played really well today. Both had phenomenal performances. I thought Trent Alexander-Arnold was my personal man of the match alongside Fabinho. I thought those 2 were just unbelievable today. Fabinho as well. Tactical fouls, smart decisions, acting like a proper shield to the 2 centre backs. I thought he had a good game. Curtis Jones played well for us today. And from the forward line, I think the forward line let us down a little bit today because we created enough chances to be 2-3, 4-0 up today. Mo Salah was in his creative bag, just creating multiple chances as well. Even the pass pre the chance created, he had one for Jota. Jota kind of just slammed it into Gakpo. Had one into Henderson, who can't pass gas, so it's normal for him to not be able to follow through with that. But he was in his creative bag today, and he done really well, I thought, Mo Salah today. When it comes to the others, I thought Jota and Gakpo, in terms of like overall build-up play, all-round play, like the passing, just being in the right place at the right time, they all did that, but they just weren't able to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the thing with Jota and Gakpo today. Darwin Nunez, listen, they tell me I have an agenda. They tell me, maybe I dislike him or something. I don't dislike him. I don't have an agenda with him. But that miss was just a horrible miss. Robbed Trent of one of the most beautiful assists all year long. That was an unbelievable pass. Like, he should be putting that in the back of the net. And I always say, like, to the Liverpool fans, if it was like maybe like a Timo Werner who did it for Chelsea or someone like that, we'd all be laughing. So when it's us, we have to keep the same energy and go like, he has to put it in the back of the net. So we cannot make up excuses. Someone will come tell me he doesn't speak the language. Him doesn't speak the language has nothing to do with him putting it in the back of the net from 3 yards. So that's the thing. But it's an important win. Regardless, Klopp came out in an interview, said that this is probably the system that we'll use going forward. So it's good because now many players do get more experience of playing this style, playing this system, the whole inverted stuff, blah, blah, blah. I think Salah is getting into a different, sort of element of his game where he's kind of showing off his creativity a bit more. I thought from a dribbling perspective, from a creative perspective, it was very good today. Clean sheet as well, important. And now we just sit back. Tomorrow, Husam was born in London, because tomorrow I am an Arsenal fan and I'm a West Ham fan. I need Arsenal to beat Newcastle and I need West Ham to beat Man United. I don't believe deep down that it's going to be either team, Newcastle or Man United, again mess up, but we will be there. In the words of Pep Guardiola, we will be there. So if any of you do mess up, we will be there. That's what matters.
Mate, listen. In terms of what you said about the game, I agree with. I think that I do. As I said, like I do think your front line. There's some, there's some problems in the midfield, but that's going to be addressed in the summer. The front line, as you say, I look at Gakpo and I look at Darwin, and there's some quality in there. There's no doubt, but it's not even the finishing, the miss you mentioned, yes, but it's just sometimes like the build-up play. I don't want to say it reminds me of Lukaku, but I want to use him as an example at Man United. Sometimes he'd get the ball, and because of his lack of speed in the turn, or he had to take an extra touch, it just gives defenses a time to settle a little bit more, to get back into shape. There was always such a speed in your old front three, and they just need to get better, as you say, at doing that. However, you do look more dangerous now in this new system. Of course, Trent, I mean, there is a super chat here, which made me laugh a little bit. It says Liverpool copied City's tactics and become a better team. Look, I think it's just, we had this conversation a few years ago. The marauding fullback was a role in the team that everybody was using. It was working well, but as I said at the time, it was never gonna stay forever, because teams change their tactics, and then the marauding fullbacks become a role that then get nullified in games. You have to utilize people elsewhere, and it's taken Klopp probably longer this season than you all would have expected. But the way you're now operating with him in that kind of midfield playmaker role, it's just changing your ability to create and play through the midfield, as far as I can see.
It is. It's definitely changing it for us, Trent. I think him being like, because here's the thing: Trent's best ability is probably his passing ability. That's what I think separates him from others who play the similar position. His passing ability is definitely above and beyond maybe everyone else in that position specifically. So his passing ability, his creativity, like that pass that he played for Darwin, that we spoke on, that he should have scored. When you look around the league, maybe in the entire league, there's maybe 3-4 people who can play that pass. So like that's a special talent. That requires to play that. And from Gakpo and I think Gakpo is a part of our strongest front three. I think our strongest front three is probably Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah, or Gakpo, Jota, and Salah. I think that's probably our strongest front three. As when it comes to Darwin, look, man, 64 million pounds, we paid that. He must deliver. He must score. He must put the ball in the back of the net. Chances like that, we can't afford him missing those chances. That's the issue. Like the chances must be put in the back of the net, because when someone creates you a chance that easy, you must score it. There's no excuses for me to not score it. I thought Gakpo, the second one, the one where Jota slammed it at him, I think that maybe you can't blame him for it. But the second one, where the ball was just played into him and it was kind of a half volley situation, that one I think he probably should have done better. And look, overall they're playing well. Like they're linking up play okay, they're passing the ball well, Gakpo and Jota, that is. But in front of goal they should be doing better. It's about putting the ball in the back of the net at the end of the day.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I saw you shaking your head a few times in that, Zain. You disagree about the Darwin comment today, that he wasn't.
Yeah, I think Husam just don't understand football, really. I know he's going to get his head shaved because obviously he got the thing wrong about Jude Bellingham, so that shows what his opinions are like anyway. But what I don't understand with people is that strikers go through moments of form and stuff like that, right? Where literally there's times where a quality striker can't score for whatever reason because they're in a bad running form. Now, if you look at what happened at Benfica, the first season there, he's probably doing similar kind of numbers and the fans were impressed. But then the second season, he went up and he absolutely did his job, right? So I think what you're discounting with Nunez is that, again, you're discounting Klopp and the analyst team in buying him in the first place. If all I'm going to say, right, is that I'm confident that next season he's going to start hitting this form and really do some goals, right? And what's going to make me laugh is, and this is what I want the chat to remember, is we got all these commentators say all this stuff and then suddenly they jump on a bandwagon. So I don't want to hear you next year sucking him off, because that's what's going to happen. Because from my point of view, you've seen what's happened at Benfica, where first season getting involved, didn't do that well, but then second season started flying, hence why we bought him. He's come to England. You discount the fact that a new culture, new language and all that kind of stuff, he can probably doesn't really understand the instructions that have been given to him and what he's supposed to be doing. He's taken English courses to get up to speed. So give the brother time. Back your players, bro. Because I know you're looking for Klopp to be sacked earlier in the season. I just think either you're a fan and actually give people the benefit of that, because when you start a new job, are you going to be on it from the start? No, it takes time to get understand the culture, understand the systems and processes. So I think you need to slow down a bit and actually back him a bit, because from what you're saying, you're discounting people with more intelligence and football IQ than you, bro. Do you know what I mean? The people who actually are paid as full-time analysts and all that. And be honest, what's their track record? I know some of the directors the football directors gone now, but you cannot say that the analyst team within Liverpool have done a pretty good job. Look at Jota. Do you know what I mean? So, as an example, someone that everyone discounted, you've got Salah, Mane, all these other players. I'm not going to go into because it's obvious now. But do you understand where I'm coming from, Sam? Why I'm shaking my head? Because I think you've got to give the benefit of that to the experts, and they have proved over the past 4 or 5 years that actually they're pretty good. Look at Konate. He bullied Tony today. Bullied him.
I get that.
Are you done? First of all, because I didn't interrupt you once.
Yeah. Let's get
First
Sam's
of all,
response to what you
go
said.
get me the clip where I asked for Klopp to get sacked, and I'll delete my channel right now. Go get me that clip, because I never asked for Klopp to get sacked. I'm actually what they call KDL, which is Klopp Defense League. I get pressured from rival fans. I get pressured from rival fans to ask to get sacked. Second of all, I don't suck anyone else off. I leave that for you and for other people. I'm straight. Third of all, when it comes to Darwin Nunez, nothing that you said debunks what I said. You start your statement with, Husam just don't know ball, bruv. And then you come on the screen and you just waffle for 5 minutes. Nothing that you said debunks what I said. I said Darwin Nunez should have scored that chance. You come up here and then you say Husam just don't know ball, because the same thing happened first season in Benfica. Darwin Nunez now has the second most big chances missed in the English Premier League. 20 big chances missed. 6 behind Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland has, 30 more goals than Darwin Nunez. I know Darwin Nunez doesn't start often, but that's even more damning, because even with him not starting often or not getting enough minutes, he still has that many big chances missed. Also, the reason why I already mentioned the language when I came up here, because I know the dumbass excuses that people make. Him not being able to speak English or understand instructions has nothing to do with him putting the ball in the back of the net from 5 yards out. Today, all I said was, I came up here and I said Nunez should have scored that chance. So when you say I'm waffling, or when you say I don't understand the ball, you must debunk that. Your debunk must be, no, he shouldn't have scored that chance because of so-and-so. But you didn't debunk anything I said. You just came up here and you're just being a clown. As per
No, but what I'd say to you, again, you're discounting. The point I'm saying is his first season, looking at what he's done at other clubs, is typically not that good. Right? You've totally disregarded the whole point. I'm saying that you've disregarded the fact that he actually got in that position to take the chance in the first place, because a lot of lesser strikers probably wouldn't even got close to that. So,
but who disregarded that?
Well, you're just saying he just missed a chance. You didn't give him credit for the fact that he actually is getting in positions to get opportunities, and that's the thing that I want to get across to you, is that the fact that he's getting in positions to have chances, whether he misses them or not, that you're discounting that ability, because a lot of strikers don't even get chances or make chances or get involved in chances, right? The fact that he's doing the what you consider the easy bit wrong at the moment, yeah, fair play. He is fluffing his lines, right? But the fact that you don't understand is the difference between a quality striker and a shit striker is they don't even make any chance or get any chance in the first place. And that's my problem. Do you know what I mean?
I'll ask you a question, though. Again, I'm just going to play devil's advocate.
Of course,
here.
Yeah.
I didn't hear Husam at any point say, sell him, he's crap, he does nothing. He's literally just said he's got to score those chances. And this is where I think you're doing a bit of a top red here. You're doing a little bit of a communist Merseyside around, do not criticize a player just because he's doing badly. You should be criticizing these players. By the way, he speaks Portuguese. There's multiple Portuguese speakers in that dressing room. Like, Jota speaks English and Portuguese. I do not believe he missed that chance today because Klopp's German and he speaks Portuguese and he didn't understand what finish the chance means. That, for me, is a madness, bruv. Like, legitimately, you don't need to speak English to score goals.
All right,
You don't
Carlos
need.
Tevez didn't speak a word of
No,
English. He
Terry,
won the
can I
Golden
just
Boot.
That's yeah, it's crazy.
He won
It's
the Golden Boot. He don't even speak
okay.
English to begin with.
All I'm gonna say is that basically
Zain, listen, hold
hold on.
second, Zain.
Let me conclude
Zain,
this,
Zain,
and
there's
then
a
you can
problem with
talk.
you.
Bruv.
You have a
You can
problem.
talk
You
Arsenal,
have
bruv.
Zain, there's a genuine problem with you. You come up here and you say shit and you just expect people won't respond and you think like, oh, there is like you said something. Once again, what did you say that debunks what I said? Should he have scored today? Yes or no? Can I just have a yes or no? Should he
Yes,
have
of
scored?
course. But what the
Okay,
point I'm
perfect.
trying to make?
So
Okay,
all I
can I
did,
make my final
one
point
second,
on this?
1 second. So all I did was I came up here and I gave a fair analysis of the game. I didn't say fuck Nunez, sell him, he's crap, he's shit. All I said was he should have scored today's chance. And you agree with me, yet you say, oh, Husam don't know ball, bruv. Like it just, like why do you love waffling for no reason?
Okay, all right. So the point I'm trying to make is when you got a new player, give them the benefit of doubt. Like Man United have given Anthony a hell of a benefit of doubt this season, even though Nunez has got better numbers, right? I'm just saying, I just think second season onwards, yeah, you got to be critical. But I just think for now, ultimately, yeah, people are going to miss chances. It's one of those where I just think you have been negative about Nunez during the season. You were surprised.
But hang on, Zane, let me just interject. Sorry, I'll go to you in a second, Rack. I'm giving Anthony time at Man United, but that doesn't mean I haven't criticised his poor performances. Both those things can exist at exactly the same time. You saying that Darwin, I don't know what's the worst excuse I've ever heard. Arsenal losing to Watford because it's raining, or Darwin Nunez missed an open goal because he doesn't speak English. I actually don't know which of those two comparisons is the most.
Again, Terry, you're making it a bit too basic. No, sorry, Terry. On that, I said the culture, the language, fitting into new league.
That doesn't make you.
I gave an example of Benfica as well. So again, you're giving it too simplistic.
Do you know what? Okay. Do you know what I would say to you is this: the culture and settling in England. I think that damages your overall game. You're saying his overall game is pretty good. He's just got to improve on the finishing. He could live here 10 years and speak English as well as the King of England. He can speak the King's English. That isn't going to make him a better finisher. That's about his confidence. That's about him developing as a footballer. But say to Liverpool fans, you can't complain, you can't critique on those misses because you're not giving him the benefit of the doubt. When Husam hasn't said at any single moment, get him out the club, he's crap, he isn't worth it. That's a madness to me. You almost agree with Husam, but I think you're just trying to ride out for no reason on him. But I hear you.
Sorry, Terry. For no reason. Also, by the way, you know one statement. There's one big red flag statement he made that no one said boo when he said, he's like, oh, he's doing the easy job. He's doing the hard job and not doing the easy. No, actually, the hardest job is putting the ball in the back of the net. That's the harder job. The easy part is the running in. You know who runs in behind Timo Werner? You know who runs in behind 3/4 of the players in the world who have a bit of pace about them. So putting the ball in the back of the net is the hard part. You know, I'm gonna head off now. Terry knows this because I have to go do match reaction shit. But Zain, please, like if me and you are on a match reaction, just know, like, don't come for me like this and think I'm not gonna say some shit back. Like, don't, like, look, I'm not a gal.
That's the thing.
You know, I'm always gonna say some shit back. You just come up here and waffle all the time. You remind me of that meme. Have you ever had a dream where that kid just
No. I'm not going to tolerate this nonsense.
This guy agrees with me, and then he's
what
trying
did you
to
say
like,
last season? You're going to win the quad. You're going to win the league. And I was consistent saying we're not going to win the league, bro. So let's get the facts straight.
You should talk back the team, no?
But actually, your shit doesn't actually come to fruition.
You just accused me of not backing the team.
What did you say last season? Quad this. We're going to win the title. And I was saying consistently we're not going to win, bro. So shut up about your nonsense because your talk doesn't come to fruition.
I never said quad. That's a lie again.
And my shit comes right. I said we're not going to win the league last season consistently, and you were like quad. What
never said quad.
You got rigged by social media.
I never said quad.
The head off. You're going to shake your head off.
Zain, I'm going to mute you for a second. A minute ago, Zain, you had a go at Husam for not backing the team.
For not backing the squad. Thank you.
Now you're slagging him off for backing him last year. Which is the right thing to do? To back the team or not?
He's just confused. Like, how are you confused?
So last year, I was hella confused why all these so-called football experts of Liverpool thought we were going to win the title when I said Man City are going to win it. I was hella confused. With our midfield being that shit, I was confused, bro. But I gave him the respect for, you know what? You do your thing, bruv. And then what happened? What happened, Husam? Did we win the league?
Did you not just say
Why?
back your
Because
players?
I'm midfield. Why? Oh, funny that. You're quiet now, isn't it?
Why are you pivoting to a totally different argument?
I'm never... Rax,
Zain, why are you pivoting to a totally different argument?
I'm
One
giving
second,
an
Rax.
example of the fact
Rax, give me a second. You just said back your team. And now you're telling me, why did you back the team last season? That's the funny part. And when you speak on midfield, you know I'm the last person to speak on when it comes to midfield, because Terry knows I've fought my own fan base on this whole midfield thing.
So
Rax can testify, Mo Inter can testify, Samuel knows, Terry knows. I was one of the people who said on midfield. Now, before I go, I just want to say, Zain, this is you for the last 15 minutes.
Have you ever had a dream that...
Oh, yeah. Whatever, bro. You go with your cheek gimmicks, bro.
You could do so.
This is you. Next time you come for me, don't miss, brother, because you missed like Darwin today.
So when you got your ball head, bro, when you got your ball head, because you said Jude Bellingham was going to come, I'm looking forward to your ball head, bro.
He's had to shoot now. He's had to shoot. Listen, look, we digress slightly. I've got a super chat here that says Darwin has been scapegoated since his signing. This season is down to 3 players: VVD, Fabinho, and Trent, who's been the worst right back in the league. And the thing is, I'm not going to disagree that maybe he's been scapegoated too much. That's for Liverpool fans to discuss. But all Husam said on this stream was today he should have scored that goal, and he criticized him for it. And that's taking an isolated piece of criticism and turning it into a long-standing agenda. And I don't think there personally is one. And I do think, by the way, VVD, Fabinho, and Trent, in the roles they were playing under Klopp, were a big reason you're fifth. If you guys would have been playing this system earlier on in the season, made the right signings in the summer in January, you'd have made top 4 with absolute ease. There's no...
But Terry, sorry, just interject. Gakpo missed a blatant chance as well. That wasn't brought up. That's the problem I have.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's an agenda.
Days.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, Zain,
that one was a rocket.
That was blasted at him from about 5 or 6 yards.
That's actually...
I'm talking about when he tested it, and he should have just shot across the keeper, but instead he tried to go near post.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Zain.
You've been here a while.
Oh, my days. My head is hurting, and I do apologize if my internet's moving a bit mad. But Zain, you can criticize a player and still back a player. You can do that in the same sentence. You do realize that. What Husam said, there was nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. And Husam knows, Terry knows. So before you say anything, I've been a Klopp supporter. I've been trying to fight these top reds or the reds that were saying that Klopp out and stuff like that. I was actually been backing Nunez, giving all the excuses. Nunez needs to make those chances. Nunez needs to make those chances. I will still back him till last season. What you said, Zain, about him first season of Benfica, he wasn't doing as well, and then second season, he exploded. I agree with that. Let's wait till next season. But I'm still going to criticize him because he has the most chances in the team, and he has the most misses. You need to improve on that.
No, Sam, I hear that, but come on, a bit of energy for Gakpo as well, because like I said, Gakpo has some chances.
But the thing is, Gakpo hasn't had the amount of chances that Nunez has.
Zain, let me ask a question. Zain, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. I want to ask a question about this. Do you really think that Gakpo and Darwin Nunez have the same ability, the same technique? Gakpo is way superior to Nunez, even though he's a cheaper player. He's not brought to score goals. He brought to build up play and get involved and do this stuff. And you want to give the same energy to both. One cost that much and one didn't cost that much. One came in January. One has been with the team from the beginning of the season. One is missing chances left and right. And the other one, since he came in January, look at your form. He has been the better player. Some games he has been your best player on the pitch, along with Salah. And you want to give the same energy to both. It's a very obvious thing that you really want to have an agenda against Gakpo versus Nunez. Just say it as it is. They're different players.
Can I respond? All right. So on that case, I've backed both of them. I rated Gakpo. I said I really like what I'm seeing when initially.
By the way, I need to stop you. You keep saying Gakpo.
Gakpo. All right.
You're making me laugh. Sorry.
Gakpo. Right. Yeah. But basically, I backed them both, and even when Gakpo first started, and a lot of Liverpool fans were on him because like, what is this? He's not ready. I back the brother. The problem I have, and you thank you so much, Mo, right? You said Gakpo is the better player. So what's Gakpo's excuse for missing his chances? And my problem, and this is what I'm trying to call out to people, is that spread it out fairly, bro. If you're going to call out Nunez, call out Gakpo as well. Don't just keep this agenda about a certain player and scapegoating.
I don't want to ride this one out much longer than we have to, but just that's how Husam saw this game. And we're match reviewing a game. And in one particular game, you don't have to equal out blame. Man United fans do this all the time. You'll have a game where Sancho's bad. You criticize him. Well, what about 3 weeks ago when Rashford was bad? We're not talking about that game right now. Keep it on point. And he missed a bad chance that needs to be called out. Rack hasn't spoke yet. What are you here to say, bro?
Hey, look, no one is throwing in the towel on Darwin Nunez. No one's saying we should get rid of him. No one is overly criticizing him. The issue is that he's been with the team, obviously, since the start of the season. And it's almost as if his performances and certainly the number of minutes that he's getting are actually decreasing. And that's a little bit concerning because he's had more time to adapt. Now, look, Gakpo, he speaks the language. That of course does help. It helps with integration. He knows Virgil and stuff like that. So that will help. That will help him settle in. But it is concerning. No one is ready to throw in the towel. We're going to give him next season as well. No one is suggesting. I haven't heard a single Liverpool fan say sell Darwin Nunez. In fact, when you see the reaction in the ground, everyone is shouting Darwin, Darwin, Darwin because everyone really wants it to come off for him. We are supporting him. But if you're going to be a little bit objective, I think it's a little bit of balance, a little bit of criticism, and a little bit of, hey, look, fair enough. You've come for big money. You said, Zain, that a lot of strikers would have missed that chance, but a lot of strikers don't cost, or will potentially cost, the best part of 100 million euros. So that also has to be brought together. It's not his fault. He doesn't know. He doesn't make the price tag. And like I said, if he comes good, no one is going to be more happier than you and me. But questions, I think it's fair to ask questions about it.
I think it definitely is. I wanted to ask you guys some other questions as well about some other players. We've done a lot on Trent in this new role. We know it's really working. I think it's been done a lot on shows recently. But I wanted to ask about Curtis Jones because he, again, I felt had another solid game today. He's had a really good run in the team. You are looking at a number of midfielders this year. Is there a concern, or maybe a lack of concern, that this form may lead to the management of Liverpool saying we don't need to buy 3 because Curtis Jones is now good enough? Is that a worry? Or is that a concern?
Please no, please no, please.
Klopp knows. Klopp, it's taken a while, but Klopp now knows that significant surgery is required to this team, and I think the penny has just dropped. I mean, look, ultimately, you're the manager. You take responsibility for the results. The results this season haven't been good enough, and Klopp will have to work out why that is the case. Like, even in this run of victories, we still haven't been great. Like, this is nowhere near the Liverpool of old. We were super lucky last week to get away with the 3 points. There have been quite a few moments that have been a bit touch and go. Sure, we're finishing the season with a succession of wins. I expect us to win our last 3 games. So that'll be like a run of 7 or 8 games, and fine. But that doesn't paper over the cracks. We need to get at least 2 top quality midfielders. I would suggest 3. And look, Jones, Man United, when Man United was strongest, you all know this. The kids that came through the youth system, if they obviously they became world class, great. But if they just supplemented the other world class you had and they became squad players, that's okay. That's fine. That will save you, especially in this day and age, 20, 30 million quid.
The class of 92. They were amazing, but we had the Busby Babes that came through in the 50s, and then we had the class of 92 that came through 40 odd years later. And you could argue Rashford's of a decent quality, and let's see what happens with Garnacho. But and Pogba was an academy player, but it's rare that big clubs that are challenging for these players to come through and all be like elite world class. You get a mixture. You had
Wes Brown, Nicky Butt, and I mean
John O'Shea and others, and people like that. You've got one now who I think when we build a stronger squad, as a squad player, McTominay will be fine. and they're easier to manage. And someone like Curtis Jones is an asset to Liverpool. He's a decent player. And I think if you guys build a brilliant world-class midfield that's challenging and winning Prems, you'll be more than happy to sit there on that bench, play the occasional game, fill some holes, and just, have a nice career with loads of trophies. He'll be happy to be a Darren Fletcher because he's Liverpool through and through. And that's why sometimes, I know some fans get annoyed about, why are you backing youth over a signing? I look at Curtis Jones is more likely to want to stay at Liverpool and be happy to be on the bench than Fabinho would. Because it's just where you're born and brought up, or the club that you come through the academy of. There's always a different feeling to it. But I just wanted to ask you, because I know that my club's done this, and I know that you guys all have an issue with FSG around. You almost need the holes to be so glaring. They definitely invest, because if someone starts playing well, they might try and paper over a crack. And I just wonder if you've got any concern that might happen.
Terry, quickly, and this is why I was actually happy about when we beat Tottenham 4-3. The game ended like the way it did instead of us smacking them. Because if we did another 7-0 against Man United, it would have been, we're completely fine. Which I do give credit to what Zain, he came on and said that we're not actually okay. This is papering over the cracks, even though it was a great win. So for me personally, I guess with that Tottenham in that Tottenham match, what it reminded all of us is that yes, we got the win. However, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. On the point of Curtis Jones, please, I cannot have this guy starting. Please. He's done well. He's done well for the run, but Curtis Jones is not the caliber of player that we need to be starting in midfield.
Yeah. Can I add my 2 pence on this, right? The only reason why Curtis Jones is playing is he's doing what Klopp needs our midfield to do. Because I've said it for 3-4 years now. Henderson's lost his legs. That's why I call him a donkey, right? One thing.
That's not a nice way to speak about one of your players. That's not backing your players and your club captain.
Yeah, whatever, Terry.
Whatever.
I'm not even going to go into it. But anyway, the reason why we're on a good run at the moment is basically we're now starting to close down and hustle the defenders and the midfield, because Curtis Jones is running around and actually doing what Wijnaldum used to do, right? Now, that's the only reason why he's in the team, because at the moment we haven't got any other players capable of doing that, because he's tried all season to get someone to do that, and that's not going to happen. And it's no coincidence, since he's been in the team and doing that dirty job, we're suddenly getting the results, like the 1-0s that we used to get. Now, obviously, he's obviously a certain level. We are going to get in better quality players that can do that job, but also add more to the team, like goals and assists. Because let's be honest, Curtis Jones really needs to up his game in regards to his assist and his scoring.
Can I add something about this Curtis Jones? Am I the only one who thinks Curtis Jones is actually a very good player? You remember Jordan Henderson when he joined Liverpool and he said he's a mediocre player? Jordan Henderson at one point was one of the best midfielders in the world. And he doesn't have even half the technical ability that Curtis Jones had. He's 22 years old. Playing with great midfielders at Liverpool, like Henderson last year, Fabinho of last year, the quad team, you guys, the 3 Champions League finalists, you won 1. I don't know why you guys don't see that Curtis Jones can be a good player for you. Now, Liverpool fans went from, we need to rebuild with Jurgen Klopp to we need ready players now. This is the rebuild. This is the Henderson of the next 10 years, Curtis Jones. If you put him on the bench and you don't play him, he's never going to be a good player. This is what you need. Or is it or Liverpool fans, this is a question, or you guys are scared that everybody will be better and you won't be able to catch up with them? This is what I'm hearing. You want a ready player now, but Jurgen Klopp has always been a guy that works with player in an upward trajectory, not someone who's ready at the moment. Wijnaldum joined from Newcastle. He wasn't the superstar that left you. Jordan Henderson wasn't from Sunderland. He wasn't. Now, Curtis Jones, through and through Liverpool, good ability, because abilities don't just appear out of nowhere. He's playing now. He looks like he's your best midfielder at this moment.
Mo, just on that then, and I want the other Liverpool fans to give their input into this as well, is the problem I feel with Curtis Jones is that end product. Wijnaldum scored crucial goals and got involved and did, crucial things to get us over the team. I've not seen that that consistently with Curtis Jones over the many years he's been given opportunities. And obviously I want Rack and Sam to obviously give their input, but that's the problem with Curtis Jones is he needs the output as well. It's all well and good doing what he's doing now, but he needs to be contributing goals and assists as well. And that's my real issue with him, is that he's never really demonstrated it. I mean, Rack, Sam, what do you guys think about Curtis?
Well, before that, before you go on, because Terry mentioned McTominay, there's a massive difference between both. McTominay has been given a chance after a chance after a chance, and it was only about he's a squad player that cannot be a starter. I don't think McTominay can get better, but I see Curtis Jones can get way better than this. So there is no comparison between both.
Personally, for me with Curtis Jones, I've admitted that I'm not really a fan of Curtis Jones, but I've backed him in the sense of he has been doing well. But first of all, you have to take this season as a pinch of salt. The midfield has been so bad that anybody that is doing at least okay is looking world class in this midfield. I mean, remember I don't know how to say his name. Besitic. Well, you know who I'm talking about. He came in, that's it. He came in and had a couple of games, and he was looking brilliant. Let's not take that and just run with it. Let's take it with a pinch of salt. Liverpool have the money to go and get better players. Let's go and get these better players. If Curtis Jones is that good and we get those better players, next season, he will shine through when he gets his chances, and he will bench those players. And well and good for us. Go on, man.
I hear you on that. Yeah, so go on, Rack, and then I think we've kind of covered that, and I get it. Go on.
I mean, I'll give Curtis Jones more time. I think he's shown good moments, especially recently, and he hasn't quite been so good prior to that. But he's like Mo said, he's 22 years old. Let's keep him in the squad. What he needs to do is when we bring in good players, he needs to elevate his game so that he's competing with them. And then he will also get opportunities, and then we'll really see how he goes playing with better players. It's a bit of both, really.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I hear you on that. I wanted to ask as well about again. He scored another goal today. I think that's 40 goals and assists again this season in a Liverpool team that hasn't been functional. Beaten Gerrard's record now to 100 Anfield goals. Close it. But guys, it feels like he breaks a record every other week for Liverpool. No trophies this year for him, but Mo Salah just goes from strength to strength with the Liverpool player. And there was a lot of accusations that the 350 grand a week has like poisoned him and he's going to do an Ozil. And I read a lot of nonsense from rivals all year about that, but he comes good again. And maybe, just maybe, could be the difference between you making the Champions League or not next year. But Mo Salah, I'm going to go to Mo on this. Obviously, I know he's a fellow countryman, but just another brilliant moment for him as a Liverpool player.
Best right winger probably in the Prem history in the modern era. I haven't watched anything before the 90s, so I think for me, there's no right winger that can score that many goals. And he has been doing it every year now for like 6 years.
You think Mo Salah was a better right winger than Cristiano Ronaldo?
Was Cristiano Ronaldo your left winger or right winger?
No, he was right at Man United, playing the right.
No, Cristiano Ronaldo has had good 2 seasons with Man United. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the best players. But longevity in the Premier League, Mo Salah has been doing it for 5 years, putting massive numbers, right? And he has been very consistent with Liverpool. Cristiano Ronaldo may be the better player. Like Ronaldinho has had great seasons with Barcelona, 2 great seasons. But can you compare him to Messi or Ronaldo, who has been doing it for years? My point with Mo Salah is longevity. It's the same. You're getting the same quality. Even if it's worst season, he's absolutely majestic in terms of numbers. He's a reliable player, will always get you goals. He's absolutely fantastic. So for me, yes, like we said before that he had a dip in the beginning of the season, but look at his numbers now. He's fantastic. Like, I don't think that the 350 maybe played in his head in the beginning of the season, but look at his output now. He's Liverpool's best player by far this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you know what on that as well, right? I think this season highlights his quality even more, because in an underperforming team, he's got 18 goals and 7 assists so far in the Premier League. Now, it's easy to get loads of goals in a great team and you're all working well. But in a team that's performed as badly as Liverpool this season, and he's still back to hopefully hit 20 goals a season, that's the gold benchmark for any striker in the Premier League, is hit 20 goals and you're considered a quality world-class type striker. And the fact he's done it over 6 years, where you get some strikers who come in, first year they're an unknown quantity. So they go off, right? But then after that, teams know how to defend him. He's got 2, 3 sometimes defenders all around him because they all know he's going to cut on his left. Yet, despite that, he's putting in those numbers. That shows the quality of Mo Salah, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly does. And I know like Liverpool fans don't like the conversation and the argument. Oh, sorry, I was actually reading something mad. Jamie Redknapp has said today that Erling Haaland is the first ever genuine Premier League superstar.
Can we play like a music, like a drum music, like a joke music or something?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly, like something like this. What is this?
He could end up being the biggest superstar, but to act like Cantona and Beckham and Drogba and Henry and Hazard and Bale and Gerrard and Torres and
Ronaldo went to Real Madrid for a world record fee.
Ronaldo won Ballon d'Or when he was at Man United.
Fees for someone who's not a superstar.
Recently, I've been attacked. I'm a United fan. Everyone's like, "You're just trying to defend Fergie." No, you're all wrong. United fans all year coming for me. Oh, you're only defending Arsenal because of your girlfriend. No, I'm defending my own club and I'm defending football legacy. Been telling you all year, if we allow this lazy punditry to continue, they will rewrite history with it. To state on Sky Sports, with millions of people watching, first ever genuine superstar, I'm not talking about it would damage my mind or your mind, you're older, but all the young kids listening will go, yeah. And then that's what they'll believe.
Terry,
it's a lie.
Terry, this is why people turn up to the terrace and they turn up to other channels, because the nonsense that some of these pundits spout is laughable. Like, that is a laughable statement. The Premier League has been going for 30 years. Now, I haven't seen the comment specifically, but if it's like as you say, it's absolutely laughable. Who takes Jamie Redknapp seriously as a pundit anyway? Nobody.
Do you know what, Terry?
But to say that
he's been watching Galbraith. That's what he's been doing. He's been watching social media, and basically he's throwing out that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is disrespectful to a lot of players that played in the Premier League. Like, when you talk about superstar, Haaland hasn't even won the Ballon d'Or yet. Cristiano Ronaldo won a Champions League with Man United, won Ballon d'Or when he was at Man United. That's a superstar. He was regarded as the most expensive player when he was sold to Real Madrid. That's a superstar that went to Real Madrid. What is he talking about? Wayne Rooney has been one of the best players the world has seen, and he played all his career after Everton at Man United. And this guy comes in and says it's the only superstar.
Now, it's
astonishing.
What I think is a fairer statement is he could be one of the first superstars to come here, play here, and stay here. A lot of our stars have gone to Barcelona or Real Madrid. And typically when that was happening, sometimes with like Beckham, it was because the club wanted him gone. Other times it's because the Premier League just didn't, even though it was growing, didn't have the money and the prowess. I just think over those years, it's got to that point now where with the coaches we have here and the players that we've got here, I honestly believe we should be able to attract the best players. And Haaland was a marker in that. I think that's a fair statement. But again, I've seen too much of it this season. Like I called out TalkSport the other day. Haaland's goals aren't worth that much because it's basically easier to score now. But then in the same other side of the mouth, if City do the treble, it's the greatest English team of all time. These comments are crazy. It disrespects Liverpool's history, Chelsea's history, Man United's history. At the same time, it disrespects what Haaland's doing now, which is amazing. And they should just be celebrated in isolation without everything being a comparison. I know we have the comparisons, but only because we see it being brought up all the time now.
Is it Mo Salah superstar, Terry? How many times he has been on the podium of the Ballon d'Or?
Well, this is it again, but then people redefine. If you think about like what does superstar even mean? We look at foreign players that have come in. Look at Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry was one of the most recognizable men on planet Earth during his time at Arsenal. This guy, I don't remember. Cantona did this, and he did it, and I can't remember many other foreign imported players that went on to be celebrities in England, doing adverts in England. Like one of the most famous adverts in British TV history, and the word still used now was "vavavoom."
Oh,
you know, "vavavoom." That's a French footballer who came to England, played for Arsenal, loads of rivals, but everyone kind of loved him. It's why he's kind of voted as the GOAT. He was one of the best players, but he was kind of loved universally by people. he was a bigger superstar in his time in England than Haaland is right now. Like, if that makes sense. Haaland might go on to be bigger and better because of them goals, what he might win. There's no doubt about it. But to say he's the first, like we haven't had superstars here before, is mad. Like,
also, I'm sorry, Haaland coming from Borussia Dortmund, Terry.
You had Eric Cantona, who had, by the way, loads of kids that weren't United fans. How many kids in the school playground you grew up, Zain, put their collar up?
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone. Even people that didn't, so everyone did it. Now, social media didn't exist, but you remember what was going on. Cantona was a superstar. Like, this guy, Cantona, is still loved now. Man, become a movie star because of the fame he got from the Prem.
They still sing his name. They still sing his name. Right?
Even with me,
his name probably weren't alive when he was playing, but he's that much of a just like when we were growing up. You know, I guess probably. I mean, you probably know better than I do. Tell you studied on Bobby Charlton and Best and Law and all these guys. Like, kids who didn't watch him play have been learning about him. So
he's not that old. Yeah. He's not that old.
Terry, do you know what? I think it is? I think
history.
It's a compliment.
It's a club's history.
Yeah, I think it's a compliment to fan channels because I think the traditional media are now starting to look at fan channels more. And because Carroll come out recently with his VVD stuff as well, I think they've realised that actually sometimes you've got to make these kind of outlandish statements to generate the clicks and views because they feel threatened. And I think that's a symptom like TalkSport, you know, Carrick's been doing a lot recently as well. Yeah, you're thinking, where's that come from? And I just think they're starting to cotton on and think, we need to do what fan channels are doing.
I agree. And someone said here, no, what he was referring to is that those other players weren't superstars when they came in. Look, Haaland's famous now because of social media, but Haaland hasn't achieved anything yet in his career. All those records and goals are amazing, but he has to win the trophies. You're not a superstar unless you've got them medals around your neck, as far as I'm concerned in football. With all the goals, with all the assists, you need those medals. Now, I praise him for what he is as a 22-year-old. And my people say, he's already surpassed Henry. No. Win those Premier Leagues, continue winning those golden boots, then you surpass him. You don't surpass him in 1 year. Now, he could be, arguably, the best finisher we've ever seen here. Because that's an ability argument. And ability is what you're seeing right now. When it comes to superstardom and legacy, that is built over time. That is built with medals. That is built with consistency. So you can't say that. The only way you could say we import a superstar is if you bring in a 25-year-old Messi. Then you would have said, yeah, like he's the first like global superstar that we maybe imported. But I don't know. I think it's a push. But I do think, as you say, it's for clicks there. Somewhat. Blaze says, crazy how Salah and Kane would have had quality seasons if it not been for the robot. To all and the Inter fans, Inter fan, do you think Onana is better with his feet than Edison? We'll come back to that bit there. That's what happens when barometers get broke, though. Like Salah and Kane especially, he's had a tremendous season. It looks tiny in comparison. Do you know what I mean? It's like, have you ever seen someone who's tall? Like my brother is 6'2", but then we've got like an uncle that's 6'8". My brother looks little next to him. Do you get what I mean? Like, he's not little. He's 6'2", 6'3", but he looks little next to him. That's kind of what's happened to Harry Kane this season because of him. But on that other question, Onana, better with his feet than Edison?
Similar, but Onana is one of the best distributor in the world with his feet, to be honest. He's linked to Chelsea, isn't it? For like 70 million or 60 million as well, but I'm not sure if he's going to get sold. But he's as good as Edison with his feet, but also the players that play around him are not as good as the players that play around Edison.
Yeah. No, I totally understand you on that. Final question for you guys. Liverpool going to make the top four?
Yes.
Nope. All right.
Who said yes first?
The gaps.
Sam said it first.
Go on, Sam. Why are you going to do it, bro? Why are you going to do it?
Do you know what it is? Literally, people have been looking at Man United. And before, I haven't been looking at Man United. I've actually been looking at Newcastle. Now, the only reason why I'm looking at Newcastle is because they have games against Arsenal, I think Brighton and Leeds. Now, not everybody thinks, Leeds, but it's Big Sam. It is Big Sam managing Leeds. So I'm hoping that they drop points in all those 3 games. I think with Man United, I think they have an easier games. I generally think they're going to beat West Ham tomorrow. If they drop points, well, hey, we're looking good. But I generally think will beat West Ham. But I'm really looking at Newcastle. I genuinely think that we will get top 4. I've been saying this since January. We will get top 4. If I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm wrong. But yeah.
And none of the rest. Why are you other two playing it down? Is it because you don't want to put pressure on your team, or is it a case of you just think Newcastle, or do you think Newcastle and United are just better than you?
I think the problem is we've started playing much better than we have, but the gap is just too big. We started too late. If we could have got to the maximum number of points we can get is 71. If we could have the maximum number of points we could have got to 75 or 76, obviously that would have given us a much better chance. But ultimately, we dropped points against Arsenal. At that point, I said top 4 is done because the gap is too big, and even potentially dropping points to the game. I think it was the game before. I can't remember who it was against, but that just made it a bridge too far. And yeah, I can see you dropping points. I can see Newcastle dropping points, but I can't see you dropping enough points.
So Terry, you know, I've said.
Remember, back your team here. Back your team. You said earlier on today. So are you going to?
Yeah. And you remember. I've said a bit like Sam for a while now. I'm confident that we will get top 4 because we've proven it in the past, and we're doing what I said we do. I.e., near the end of the season, Klopp will sort out the problems and get us on the run. Again, he's doing that. Now, the reason why I'm confident is the fact that apart from City, a lot of teams can't handle that kind of pressure because look at Arsenal last season. They were comfortably ahead of Tottenham, but they bottled it, right? They literally think. The thing with I disagree with Sam is I'm more thinking it's going to be Man United rather than Newcastle is the one that's going to give us the place in the Champions League because I don't think Man United have been playing well for probably 6-7 games. And I think what's really crucial, especially near the end of the season, is you start finding your form and start, grinding those results out. And I personally don't rate Ten Hag that much. Obviously, it's his first season, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt till next season. But I honestly think with West Ham resting the key players last week, so Rice and all these guys are going to come back in because they feel Man United's the more better chance of them picking up points. I honestly also think Wolves won today. So everyone keeps saying, Wolves are not all that. Chelsea won today as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, are these not 2 teams you're going to be playing shortly as well soon? So I always find with the running at the end of the season, it's more important not looking at the points, but looking at the form and the way teams are playing. I don't think Man United are playing that well at this time of the season. And I'm starting to see other teams pick up their forms lightly, like West Ham. We luckily beat them. They took points of Arsenal. So regardless of what you think of them, they are now starting to find their form near the end of the season. I think form over points is more important. And that's my basis of why I'm quite confident that Man United will probably bottle it tomorrow. And then after that, it'll be even more pressure. And then let's see what Ten Hag and the players do, because I don't think they've got it in them to do much.
Yeah, it's going to be, listen, if we win tomorrow, I'm confident we'll maintain it because then we get Wolves at home. Our home form's good. Then we've got Chelsea at home. Our home form's good. Chelsea are what they are right now. It's if we lose tomorrow, I almost think like tonight, Liverpool fans just quiet. They're like, let's not say it out loud. A little bit like saying Bloody Mary into a mirror or saying Voldemort's name. Like, it's not going to be said. If Man United lose tomorrow, watch Liverpool fans that haven't been on the terrace for 2 months.
They'll
be alive.
But Terry, a quick question for you though. How are you going to feel tomorrow? Say hypothetically you lot lose. What is your frame of mind going to be?
Fuming.
Will you be No. Will you be?
I'm already concerned.
Will you be extremely worried then? Would you be like, oh shit, we're going to bottle it?
I've already turned around and said after your last win, I'm worried because I'm consistent with my logic. Points on the board are worth more than games in hand because we haven't played them yet. So right now, as it stands, I don't care we've got 2 games in hand. You are 1 point behind us, and your winning form is better than ours. Now, if we win our games in hand, my mind changes because then we're 7 points clear with 9 points to play for. We ain't we are not throwing. In my opinion, we won't lose 3 games on the bounce and you win 3. That it's not about the maths; it's about the probability of that happening. So it's about winning the next 2 games. So of course, if we lose tomorrow, my concern will go up another level, because to end this season without a top 4 finish in Champions League football next year is bitterly disappointment. It will be down to bottling it because the players' heads have gone recently, and it's detrimental to next season because it may impact the difference between Harry Kane saying yes and pushing for the move and not. Maybe he's head turned elsewhere. Maybe he goes, oh, I'm 30 odd years old now. I need to be straight in the Champions League as opposed to waiting 1 more year. So it is important for Man United. We can still sign players without Champions League football, but say we can't get Kane. Is Victor Osimhen going to join Man United without Champions League football after the year he's had? Maybe not. So it's so important for so many reasons. End the season well. The Champions League money is needed. And of course, that extra bit of attraction for players next year. You put all those 3 things together, I'll be bitterly disappointed. And I won't be like certain fans of other clubs playing it down, pretending it don't hurt. I will criticize. So yeah, it's a massive. What this Liverpool win has done, it's made tomorrow's game against West Ham massive. Massive.
And do you think the players will feel that pressure now?
Yes, of course. Mate, of course. Of course. I mean, all players feel the pressure. 3 wins out of 5 not doable for United. That's from KJ. Of course it's doable. But again, it's the you lose tomorrow, then you need to get 3 wins out of 4. And the pressure's different. You've got 1 less game to do it in with a team breathing down your neck. This isn't about maths. This is about the human brain and probability. And when those 2 things collide with a team, by the way, that gets over the line more often than Man United in recent years, who have got winning in their blood, compared to a team that has crumbled a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, that creeps into your head. That's what makes this enthralling. That's why you're all going to be here for the Man United match reaction tomorrow to see what happens. And it's going to be great. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that has tuned in. I want to say a big thank you to all of my panelists tonight, my super chatters, and everybody else that's involved. Remember to go and download the Top 6 podcast. It's out now on Spotify. Scan that QR code on the screen or click on the link below to download it. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.